When you think of vitamin B12, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's energy, right? Some kind of quick fix in a shot or a pill. But what if I told you that's just scratching the surface, that its real job is way more critical, kind of like a master key for your brain, your blood, and even your DNA itself? Yeah. Let's get into this because the story of B12 is so much deeper and, honestly, more fascinating than you might think. So to get us started, I want to pose a question. Just think about this for a second. What if a simple, common vitamin deficiency could cause symptoms so severe they could actually be mistaken for dementia? I'm talking about serious memory loss, confusion, that feeling of constant brain fog. Well, the answer is a lack of vitamin B12. And that right there sets the stage for why this is something we absolutely need to talk about. Okay, so let's start with the basics. We're going to break down what B12 actually is and the incredibly important jobs it's doing inside our bodies every single second. Now for the sciencey name, cobalamin. But look closely at that word. See cobalt right in the middle? That's the key. B12 is actually this unique group of compounds built around a core of the mineral cobalt. And it's that special structure that makes it totally indispensable for our metabolism. Pretty cool, right? And here are its big-ticket responsibilities. This is so much more than just a vague feeling of energy. B12 is a crucial helper, a cofactor, that's needed to build the DNA in every single cell of your body. It's also vital for making healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen everywhere, and crucially, it's fundamental for keeping our entire nervous system healthy and protected. But getting B12 from your lunch into your cells is, well, it's a journey. It's like a complex, multi-stage relay race. First, your stomach acid has to pry it loose from the food you ate. Then it gets passed between a few different special proteins before it can finally get absorbed way down at the end of your small intestine. With that many handoffs, you can start to see how easily this process can go wrong, especially as we get older or if we have any kind of digestive issue. And that brings us to what happens when that journey fails. This is where things get really serious, the silent and often totally overlooked damage to our brain and our nervous system. Okay, these are the red flags everyone should know about. See, a deficiency doesn't always show up as something obvious like anemia. It can start with these really subtle neurological signs. You know that weird pins and needles feeling in your hands or feet? Struggling to remember things? Or just feeling like you're in a constant mental fog? It can even show up as changes in your mood or problems with your balance. So the big takeaway is these aren't just minor annoyances. They could be the first signs of a real problem. And this quote from Lone Star Neurology really puts it into perspective. We're not just talking about temporary problems here. A long-term deficiency can cause actual physical damage to your nervous system, especially the spinal cord, which can lead to serious, even permanent complications if it's not caught. So why is this deficiency so sneaky? How can it go unnoticed for so long? Well, it's because your body is actually amazing at storing B12, mostly in your liver. You have a huge reservoir tank, about 1,000 to 2,000 times what you need on any given day. That means if you stop taking it in or you stop absorbing it properly, it can take years for that tank to run dry and for symptoms to finally show up. So who really needs to pay attention to this? Well, the risk isn't the same for everyone. Since B12 is found almost exclusively in animal products, vegans and vegetarians are at a particularly high risk. Older adults are also really vulnerable because things like stomach acid production can decline, which messes with that whole absorption process we talked about. And of course, anyone with GI issues or who's had certain types of surgery needs to be extra vigilant. Okay, now for a plot twist. Beyond all its classic jobs, recent science has uncovered this really fascinating and super timely connection. B12's role as a powerful ally for our immune system, especially when it comes to fighting viruses. Just take a look at this. It's not just one specific virus. The research is spread across a bunch of different ones. For instance, in patients with hepatitis C, adding B12 actually helped improve how well their treatment worked. In HIV patients, lower B12 levels were directly linked to lower counts of their crucial immune cells. And now, it's being seriously looked at as a supportive therapy for COVID-19. And this next bit of data is just wild. When scientists did a massive computer screening, basically testing every single FDA-approved drug to see what might work against a key piece of the COVID-19 virus, one thing really stood out. Out of thousands and thousands of compounds, vitamin B12 ranked number 4. Not number 4 among vitamins, number 4 overall. That is an absolutely incredible finding that just hints at its biochemical power. So how does it do all this?
Well, it seems to act like a modulator. It helps balance our immune response, calming down these inflammatory signals called cytokines so our system doesn't overreact, while still supporting our body's ability to actually fight the infection. It's a really key piece of the puzzle for a smart, well-functioning immune system.
All right, so we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get to the most practical part, how you can make sure you're actually getting enough of this incredibly important nutrient. The main natural sources are all going to be animal products. Think meat, fish, eggs, and dairy. But for people who don't eat those, the key is looking for fortified foods. A lot of breakfast cereals are fortified, and nutritional yeast is a fantastic source. And then, of course, there are dietary supplements, which are a very direct and effective way to get what you need. Now, if you've ever looked at a supplement bottle, you've probably seen these two names and thought, what's the deal? Well, cyanocobalamin is the synthetic, really stable form you'll find in most multivitamins. Your body has to do a little work to convert it into a usable form. Methylcobalamin, on the other hand, is a naturally occurring form that's already active, so your body can use it right out of the gate. So, what's the magic number we're aiming for? For most healthy adults, the recommended dietary allowance, or RDA, is just 2.4 micrograms a day. I mean, that is a teeny tiny amount. But, as we've just seen, it has a massive impact on your health. And that brings us right back to the beginning. We've seen how B12 is essential for everything from our DNA to our immune cells, and how a deficiency can silently creep up and damage our brain. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. Your brain and your immune system are counting on B12 to thrive. Are you sure they're getting enough?